All right, so this is day one. I have some culture that has been not really active, hasn't been culturing the milk at all. And to do that, you just have to keep it in the refrigerator, covered in a decent amount of fresh milk. So this is kind of hard to tell the size of this jar. And what I'm going to do is I say it's not active, but it's always active. Being in the refrigerator just slows it down. So it has been culturing that milk, but very, very little. So I have a couple strainers here. So I would recommend using a more fine mesh strainer. So this one is actually, the mesh is actually pretty big on this one. If you compare it to one of these, it's a lot more fine. So I actually prefer to use the finer one, because if you have small granular culture, then they might just go right through it. So this has some culture in there, and I'm gonna basically dump the milk. Any milk that was being cultured in the refrigerator is not going to work properly. So I'm gonna dump the culture in here, and then there's also always some left. So you rinse that out with cold water over the culture. That's fine. I'm sure they probably don't like hot water. So then whatever's left in here, you can fill it up with some water, dump it in here, and just keep doing that until the jar is empty. So one of the things to look out for, now it's not the case right now because the culture wasn't super active in the refrigerator, but there's two signs. There's two signs of the culture being bad. It should be just kind of, I'm trying to think. It should look a little bit like cauliflower, like little mini cauliflowers, and it should not be slimy. If it feels slimy, that means it's either dead or really close to dying, and so you might as well throw it away. It's almost like gum. If it feels like gum, then it's bad. But this is what they should look like and feel like. And this is actually one solid piece, that like colony that's grown together. So once you've washed it off with cold water, wash it off very well. What we're gonna make is actually called, I don't know what it's called in English, so I'll just say what it is in Russian. It's called zakvaska. So just kind of dry off the bottom of it into a paper towel. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to reuse that same glass that I had with the milk there, and I typically just reuse everything. Going to wipe it out with a paper towel. And to make zakvaska, which is not the actual kefir, it's what's known as a starter, I guess. I'm actually going to use a really small jar, and the jars that I use, the ones that work really well, are baby food jars. But the person I'm making this video for, I'm going to be sending this jar with exactly what I'm doing right now. So I'll actually do it with your jar. So I'll just use a plastic spoon. So what I'm going to do is take some of this culture out, because I am sharing the culture. Okay, and that's going to be probably way like more than enough. I've actually grown a lot of this. All right, so you don't want to use too much. I might have even used a little too much here. So I'm gonna take this culture. I'm gonna fill it up with fresh milk. You really want to use fresh milk. You should not use ultra pasteurized milk. You can use any kind of milk, as long as it's not ultra pasteurized. I prefer 2% because we're trying to be healthy and not drink whole milk. Here we go. So basically fill up this see if I can move this here. Fill up this little jar, and you never close the jars. Some people put cheesecloth or something on it. Other people put, you want to cover it with something, but you don't want to seal it. So what I usually do, I just like sort of half place a lid on, not like on top, but just off to the side. And then you're gonna let this sit for anywhere between 12 to 24 hours. So I have it sitting right there on top of just a regular counter. The warmer it is in the location where you're setting it down, the quicker it will culture. So I'm gonna actually finish off the ones I'm doing here. Right, and I just flip this over, tap them out, and it's probably not a big deal if you lose a couple in the process. Okay, and then I'm gonna fill this up with culture, or with milk, sorry, and I'm gonna place it over there just like mine. So that's as much as you can do on the first day. Right now it's actually 10:30 in the evening, so tomorrow probably around noon, but no later than tomorrow evening, these two should become what's known as zakvaski, or starters, and I will show what to do with them tomorrow.